So whenever you guys are graphing these, which I asked you guys to do, you just want to go ahead and, again, find the information. So the information, again, that we find, which you guys should be fairly familiar with, is the amplitude, which in this case, the amplitude is absolute value of negative 1/2, which is positive 1/2. Next thing is to find the period, which in this case is 2 pi. Notice that my coefficient of my x here is a 1, but that 1 is being divided by 3, right? So it's really 2 pi divided by 1/3. So therefore, I multiply by the reciprocal, and I get 6 pi. Is everybody OK with that?
Yep.
OK. The next thing is to find the x scale. X scale is basically just going to be how far we're going to, the distance between all of our critical points. Because I showed you guys what the graph looks like for the sine, so we want to know the distance between all the critical points. So you just take 6 pi divided by 4. That reduces to 3 pi over 2. The next thing is we want to find our phase shift. But if you guys remember, our phase shift, I called where it's our initial period start. Because sine and cosine, we can call their initial period at 0. But that's not always going to happen. Remember, these graphs go on and on forever, right? So we just want to find somewhere to start. So where you want to start your initial period is your phase shift. And all you need to do for that is take whatever's inside your function and set it equal to 0. Well, you just go ahead and solve for x. And x equals 0. And then the last one is the vertical translation. Well, we're not adding or subtracting anything, so I'm just going to write none. OK? So when graphing this, we're basically just going to use a nice line. Now, I asked you guys to do 2 periods, right? You could do 2 periods. You could do your initial period and then another period. You could do your initial period positive and then negative, which I'll do on the next example. However, we're going to start at, let's say, it said to start at 0, right? So here's my x-axis. And I'm going to say I'm going to start at 0. Now, what occurs at 0?
Nothing.
No, there's another axis that happens when x equals 0. The y-axis, right? So cool. I can enter in the y-axis right there. That's nice. OK. Now, what's nice about the y-axis is, remember, that's going to tell me the height. Well, the amplitude is going to tell us how high the graph goes from the x-axis. As long as there's no vertical translation, that's going to tell us how high it's going to go. So therefore, I'll say it's going to go up to 1/2, and that would be 1. Negative 1/2, negative 1. OK? So we know that here is going to be where we're going to start. So then I have a scale. My scale is 3 pi over 2. Well, if I'm going to go to my next point, I got to add another 3 pi over 2, which would give me 6 pi over 2. Well, to get to my next point, I would have to add another 3 pi over 2, which is 9 pi over 2. Add another one. That was now going to take me to 12 pi over 2. Now, I put these down a little bit below this because in reality, guys, we're not going to write 6 pi over 2, nor will you see that. You'll see that as 3 pi. You'll see this as 6 pi. Now, did we complete one period? Yes, because the period is 6 pi. But I'm just going to continue a little bit longer. So I can just continue. What I like about doing it this way is it's really easy just to add. All you do is you take you know where you start, and then you just add the x scale. So 12 pi, so that is 15 pi over 2. Next one would be 18 pi over 2, which would be 9 pi. Then that would be 21 pi over 2. And then 12 pi. Right? So what does sine look like? Well, we need to know what sine looks like. If you guys don't remember the initial period of sine, then we're kind of in trouble here. Sine, if you guys remember, went up to 1, went down to negative 1. Had a period of 2 pi, had an x scale of pi halves, and then when the initial period, it was at 0, went to its max, intercept, minimum, intercept. So guys, do we already know the distance between all of our critical points? Yes? Do we already know how high it's going to go?
Yes.
And it starts here just like that one. It starts here, goes to its max, intercept, minimum. Back up to your intercept. Do you guys see how it completed one period? And then we just complete the pattern. Done. Does that make sense? Yes? No? Maybe? So? All right. Yes. Yes.